So how do you pay your surrogate? How do you pay for a surrogacy process? We've talked a lot about the costs that are inherent to assisted reproductive technologies, but the question is where's the money going to come from? How are you going to pay this? So let's look at some options in this episode. What's up? I'm Corlandos Scott, and I'm an assisted reproductive technologies attorney. Man, that's a mouthful. Basically, I help people grow their family through surrogacy. And specifically, I handle the legal side of things. I also work with people going through egg donation, sperm donation, and all the other assisted reproductive technologies. But in this episode, we're talking about how to afford a surrogacy arrangement. We're going to look at different funding sources, from loans to grants to crowdfunding. And we'll also talk about specifically how do I logistically get the money into my surrogate's hands. Are there any rules or regulations around that? Well, let's jump right in. Going through a surrogacy journey and considering the costs and its potential to break the bank, I know it can be intimidating. And there are several ways to make payments, and most, if not all, don't involve personally handing over the payment to your gestational carrier. So we're going to talk about all these things, but first, let's look at the available sources of funding. In this section, I'm going to give you options that I've seen my clients make, and maybe present you with some novel options that you may or may not have thought of before that may exist out there for you to take advantage of. But the first option I look at are loans. Now, when I say loans, we can talk about loans specific to fertility treatment, but there's also loans outside of fertility loans that you could take advantage of if you're able to, like home equity loans. I've definitely had clients who thought that this process was important enough to do maybe a home equity line of credit and use that to help fund their fertility treatment. I've had clients work or tap into their 401k loans. I've had clients even tap into their retirement to borrow a small portion for their fertility treatments using vehicles like 401k loans. When we're talking about loans, there's even loans outside of the institutional type of loans, and I've had clients work with family members or friends and simply get loans from people they know. But as I mentioned earlier, there are also fertility-specific financing options. So let's look at these loans. Now, these loans aren't your typical loans, but they're intended primarily to answer the financial aspects of going through infertility treatment. So here's just a sample of these types of loans, and you can definitely search and dig a little deeper and find a number of other options. But two that stand out to me now are New Life Fertility Finance, as well as CapEx MD. Outside of loans, you can also look to grants. Now, grants are a popular option to finance your surrogacy journey. There's some grants made available to families on an annual basis even, provided though intended parents meet the requirements of the grant-giving organization. So here are just a couple sample grants for you to consider. Again, you can dig deeper and find many more, but here's a few to get your search started. Family Formation Charitable Trust, the Baby Quest Foundation, Pay It Forward Fertility Grant, Journey to Parenthood is also another one. Now, these grants rely mostly on donations by people who also went through a successful IVF cycle or who went through infertility treatment and understood what it was like not to be able to do anything or be limited by lack of funds. So these grants are a great way to not only help you offset the costs of infertility treatment, but also, if you're able to give back once your cycle is finished. Then there's the option of crowdfunding or fundraising. Now, before you jump onto the crowdfunding option, make sure that you check the site and see if it allows fundraising for medical treatments and adoption and surrogacy or fertility treatment in general. Not all crowdfunding or fundraising sites are created equally, so you want to make sure that the one you're looking to will allow you to do what you're trying to do. Here's a few crowdfunding sites to help you get your search started. There's Adopt Together, there's You Caring, also Give Forward. Of course, GoFundMe. Now keep in mind the specifics around these types of crowdfunding sites. For instance, GoFundMe, they help you easily share your story over email, text, and even social media, but they also charge a fee. As of this recording, they charge a 2.9% processing fee on each donation and 30 cents for each donation. There's also the site Fundly. Now, this is one of my favorite sites. They have no minimum amount to raise. The The funds can be withdrawn in a quick 24-hour turnaround, or you can set up automatic transfers to get the money. Now, they do charge a 4.9% platform fee and a credit card processing fee of 2.9% plus $30. So again, there's costs and there's benefits to each of these types of sites. Finally, another way of financing your journey could be agency financing programs. Most agencies will provide you with a fee schedule so that you don't have to pay their entire retainer or their entire fee up front. You can pay in increments as you make it through steps of the surrogacy journey. So it's important that as you look for agencies, you look for what they have in their retainer documents and find out if they have plans that allow the intended parents to make payments on a schedule or on installments based on a specific schedule of fees in their retainer documents. All right, let's talk about the logistics of paying your surrogate or gestational carrier. But before I do you like the video? Are you getting anything out of it? Well, if you are, please let YouTube and let me know by hitting that like button. It's the one with the thumbs up, yeah. And while you're down there, go ahead, subscribe, go ahead, click that little bell. The bell lets you know whenever I drop new videos so you don't miss anything. Nobody likes FOMO, right? Okay, let's talk about the logistics of paying your surrogate. Now, let's say you've got the money, but how do you get it to your surrogate? Do you need to personally hand over the payment? No. So how do we handle surrogacy financial management? Well, one option that may be available to you is just simply through the surrogacy agency. In some places, some agencies provide account management for intended parents, meaning that they will hold all the funds that are necessary to pay the surrogate and to pay other incidentals throughout the process, and they will make those payments as they become due. Now, the reason that I say some agencies in some locations is because the rules are different depending on where you are. For instance, in California, it is the law that surrogacy agencies cannot hold the money that's necessary to be used in paying out the expenses for a surrogacy arrangement. Why is that? Well, the legislature saw that there were some agencies that weren't as, let's say, scrupulous as others, and they were making off with intended parents' money, or they were being fast and loose with those payments and saying that they cost this much, but really it's not costing that much and they're pocketing the difference. So the legislature said, no, enough of that. If a party is going through a surrogacy arrangement, the money for the process has to either stay with a licensed and bonded escrow company or in an attorney's client trust account. Now, the reason for that is pretty simple. If an attorney plays fast and loose with your money, or a bonded escrow company plays fast and loose with your money, they can lose their license. And it's not worth it for them to lose their ability to do business just for playing fast and loose with one client. So that gives all of you a peace of mind to know that your money will be taken care of. So even if you are working in a state where an agency is allowed to hold the funds, you may want to consider a third-party agent to entrust to hold and dispense the funds during your surrogacy process. With this kind of arrangement, like I say, you don't need to worry about making payments on time. The escrow company or the attorney will make those payments as they become due. And you can rest assured that if they do anything wrong with your money, there will be repercussions at the state level. So now you know how you can possibly afford a surrogacy arrangement, and you know something about the logistics of how those payments should be made. Well, listen, if you're thinking about a surrogacy journey and you need some help trying to figure it all out and put the pieces together, you're in luck. I have something for you. I call it the Surrogacy Path Training. And in this training, I walk you through the entire surrogacy process, and I highlight to you the important parts of the process so that you don't lose sleep, time, or money. And if you want that training, all you have to do is look in the description box below and click the link. I'll take you right to it. I can't wait to see you on that training.